Assalamu alaikum. My name is Haseeb Budhani. I am with Rafay Systems, and today I'll be speaking about Kubernetes platform engineering here on KCD in Islamabad. The goal of this conversation is to highlight for you how you can invest in platform engineering for Kubernetes so you can make your developers happy and then ultimately your company successful. But before I do, I want to take a minute and thank the CNCF who has sponsored this event, allowed us to run this KCD event in Islamabad. This allows us Pakistanis, anybody who's an enthusiast in cloud and DevOps, to get exposed to all the new technologies and the ideas that are flowing in the CNCF community. The CNCF's goal clearly is the promotion of cloud native technologies and to bring awareness to the world at large. And with this KCD event, we get to do this in Pakistan, which is a great honor and blessing. Special thanks to Audra, Katie, and of course Chris with the CNCF, who have been so supportive of this event and have worked with Simon and others to put it together. Thank you very much, CNCF. So what is a Kubernetes platform? Well, it solves for two sets of people or groups in an organization: the developers and then the platform engineering teams. Developers are ultimately looking for something very simple when it comes to Kubernetes. Actually, they're not looking for Kubernetes at all. What they're looking for is an easy way for them to get access to compute. They want to consume infrastructure, maybe via Backstage, some API or something, such that they can consume this infrastructure, compute, storage, etc. And they don't want to have to think about the underlying infrastructure complexities. In fact, they expect to not need to learn about the infrastructure complexities that exist. Kubernetes is not an easy platform to kind of keep running, and they don't want to deal with it. They want to go write their code, and they would rather have somebody else deal with all the complexity that surrounds Kubernetes. But then who takes care of the complexity? Platform engineering. Their job should be, needs to be, that they deliver a shared services platform that takes care of Kubernetes being consumed by the entire company. And they need to do this centrally. They need to provide easy to use interfaces such that their internal customers, the developers, or the SREs for that matter, are successful in the jobs that they need to do. And most importantly, from an enterprise perspective, they need to invest in policy management, the right add-on management, the right cost controls, essentially the right governance framework so that the enterprise can continue to invest in all of these cloud native ideas and concepts and make the developers happy, but at the same time have a level of control that the enterprise expects and needs to have on any development effort that is put into play. So what does it all look like? There's a lot of moving parts to Kubernetes platforms. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of personas that are involved in managing all of this. And yes, of course, there are platform engineers. Of course, there are developers. But then there are the SREs that I mentioned on the prior slide. These are the team members who are keeping the platform up at night. Right? Somebody has to make sure everything is running, and they do that. There are security engineers who have a lot of strong opinions, rightfully so, around what should be configured, how it should be configured, who has access to what audits are needed, et cetera. They have those requirements. There's the financial operations teams who have to think about, well, what is the cost of all this? Are we investing in all the right places? Is there a way for us to manage our costs such that we're not linearly scaling as we add more developers and services? And then, end of the day, there's a support function here as well. Sometimes the support function is shared between teams, but somebody has to provide an interface to these internal customers, the developers, so that they can be successful at whatever goals they have with respect to writing applications. And inside these platforms, if you think simply in terms of front ends and back ends, well, yes, there's a front end, right? So this could be a UI, this could be an API, this could be maybe a Terraform provider. Very recently now, Backstage has become a very, well-used and highly talked about interface that many companies are using. We certainly are investing in Backstage a lot, and if you haven't looked at Backstage, I strongly recommend you do. It's an amazing platform. It's a very scalable platform. The plugin concept is very good. It allows us to do a lot with it. And if you don't like Backstage for whatever reason, maybe there are other IDPs that you like, and that's okay too. But that's the front end. But in the back end, there's a lot going on. And this is the work that the platform engineering people do. And they sort of kind of do this in the back, but these things have to be done. Mostly what people think about when they think about platform engineering, or at least in the context of Kubernetes platform engineering, they think about the infrastructure. I need a cluster. I need a namespace. I need a kubeconfig file so that I can access my namespace. But then there's all these other things that go around it. But there are a number of services that need to be integrated into this platform. Which registry and where? How do you deploy applications? So what's your CD function? Do you need databases? Are they going to be inside the Kubernetes? Are they going to be Kubernetes native, or are they going to be services outside, maybe RDS? What's your storage concept? Are you going to be doing PVCs in Kubernetes, or are you going to use a managed storage option outside of Kubernetes, et cetera, et cetera? Then all of this work that is going on, we need to be able to observe all of this. What's my logging strategy? What's my metric strategy? What's my tracing strategy when applications are not performing as well as we thought they would? We have SREs in the organization that we've talked about. Well, they have a lot of things that they have to take care of. When things break, they're the ones that usually will get a call. Well, how are they going to troubleshoot things? Or do we have the right alerting mechanism in place for them to figure out very quickly what is going wrong so that they can address the issue that has come up? I think fundamentally, how do they solve for incident management? Look, these things break. It is what it is. Things break in these complex systems. The question is not whether they break. The question is when they break, how do we react? And SREs, this is their job. They have to have the tooling available so that they can do their job. We already talked about this idea of DevX, like the developer experience. What does a developer actually get? Right? So they ask for, let's say, namespace as a service. Well, what does that actually mean? What's their access management model? Is it easy? Do they have to learn new things? Or do they consume a new platform, but use some of the old paradigms that they're used to? For example, if they're used to Okta as the single sign-on system of the company, does that continue to work with this new model? These are things that platform engineers have to think about. And then, of course, finally, governance, right? I mean, this is really important. Most of these platforms are being built in some enterprise, some company, and they have their own expectations around how people do what they do. How do you do your job? So are you doing this job in the confines of the governance model that has been implemented in this company? Are you spending too much money on infrastructure? Maybe we shouldn't, right? That's never a good idea. How does that actually work? Do we have the right security controls in place? All of these things come together, the front end and the back end, to build a platform. This is not an easy task. This is not a two-people job. This is not a 2-week job. It doesn't happen over a weekend. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. And that's okay, because once a platform like this is actually implemented, it makes the entire enterprise move a lot faster than ever before. The pace at which you can deliver applications, the pace at which you can deliver new services to your customers and delight your final customers, not the developers writing software, for the enterprise, the company's customers. That's the thing of beauty. So investing in this is the right thing to do, but then picking the right path to investing in Kubernetes platforms is very, very critical. And these are some of the ideas that you should all think about. Well, let's say you build a platform program in the company. How do you know it's successful? Because it's important to measure success. It's important to measure whether we're doing all the right things. And this slide, I am borrowing these ideas from a very good friend of mine named Ramesh Nampally. Ramesh Nampally runs cloud platform engineering at Palo Alto Networks. He speaks a lot about platforms and the idea of platform engineering. He's written a number of blogs about it as well, and you may have seen some of those blogs out there. The two concepts he talks about that I am a big fan of. One is just be clear on the promise. Like, what are you delivering to your internal customer? Well, what you're delivering is a platform that's going to significantly accelerate, their output, right? How do you go faster? How do you deliver more features faster? But at the same time, how do you ensure that there's enough quality in the product? Can't keep writing code and having bugs in it. How do you go faster while maintaining product quality? That's something that can be accomplished with a platform like this. But then most importantly, how do you improve the productivity and the efficiency of the internal customer, which is the developer? That's the promise. But then how do you know it's actually working? Well, how many people are actually using the platform is the most important metric. So he calls it monthly adoption rate, MAR. Your MAR is very critical. If you build a platform, you have to invite these internal customers to come use their platform. And if they're not using it well, maybe it's not a good platform, and that's okay. Let's figure out what they need, and let's go address those gaps so that they can come and use the platform. Tracking the MAR is key to successful for a platform program, because eventually these developers using the platform is going to justify the existence of the platform. And if you don't justify the existence of the platform, well, what is the point of doing it in the first place? So these are really important concepts, right? Be clear about the promise to your internal customer, and then measure the consumption or adoption of this platform using some ideas like a monthly adoption. And again, thank you very much, Ramesh, for allowing me to use your ideas in my slides. So why is this important? Well, Gartner talks about platform engineering a lot, or the concept of platform teams a lot, and they define the idea behind a platform team, right? So they call that a shared self-service platform that enables infrastructure and operations leaders, they call that INO, to increase customer satisfaction. And what is that customer satisfaction? It's both internal customers, developers, as well as external customers, and achieve economies of scale. Actually, if you build this centrally, you can save money, because not every single team is going to do this anymore. You're going to do this centrally. And most importantly, because you're doing this centrally, you get to establish very high standards on governance. You decide what your expectation of governance is, and you can do that centrally. But then Gartner makes clear to us what they believe is the downside of maybe not doing platform engineering. If you do not follow this paradigm, what is going to happen? Well, they believe that if this is not done, 95% of enterprises are going to fail with their DevOps initiatives. That's a scary number. If pretty much everybody's going to fail if they don't have a platform approach, well, that tells us something very important, which is, well, we must all adopt this platform idea. There's no discussion, right? I mean, we have to do this. We have to do this for our enterprises to be successful. So I mentioned earlier in the conversation, I work at a company called Rafay. We happen to sell a Kubernetes management platform that many companies use. So we track consumption. We track happiness and success in our customer base. And we ask them very directly, how are you doing? Are you doing better than you did before or not? And what we find is that platform users these happen to be, of course, this universe of respondents to this survey were Rafay users, but they've shown now, or they've told us that they are able to deploy 4 times faster. Their time to commit from commit to deployment is shorter, significantly shorter. When things break, they can fix them faster. And the fail rate, basically, it's lower. Right? These are all very positive things. Rafay is one option in this market. There are multiple options in this market, and you will decide what the right way for you to go about building a platform is. Maybe you will build one, maybe you will buy one. That's your decision. But indeed, in investing in a platform concept, investing in a platform program in your companies, again, whether you build or buy, that's a secondary problem, is the right answer. And we see this across our customer base. We have happy customers, and they all agree that one way or another, building a platform strategy was the right thing to do for them. And I hope as you hear me talk about this, as you'll hear others talk about this idea of Kubernetes platforms over the next day, you will also agree and perhaps start thinking about this concept of platform engineering in your enterprises as well. Thank you very much for listening. Really glad that this idea of KCDs coming to Pakistan, very happy to see that. And happy to engage with all of you after this conversation. Please find me on LinkedIn, I'm there, or find me on Twitter. Happy to engage and talk about platform engineering at your convenience. Assalamu alaikum.